guys, how you doing today? This is David Lucas here. Welcome back to my channel. Now today's another little special review. If you guys remember way back when I kind of just started posting a lot on my channel, that I started posting a lot of the Star Wars movies, and I basically did a whole review of the Star Wars movies in chronological order. And I stopped at Return of the Jedi, and the reason why I stopped there is I wanted to wait until we're closer to the events of Rise of Skywalker to start talking about the sequel trilogy. Start out with the sequel trilogy is none other than Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens. Yes, Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens, are directed by J.J. Abrams. Still remember back in the day when it was first announced that Disney bought Star Wars and that they were going to start out with Episode VII right after the events of Episode 6. And I remember just the hype was so crazy. Everywhere you went, everyone talked about Star Wars. Even people who weren't big Star Wars fans were talking about Star Wars. I remember it was such a big deal. We had J.J. Abrams coming in direct. Daisy Ridley was a very unknown actress at the time. She was on for the star. We had John Boyega, who was another really unknown actor at the time. He came on to play another role in there as Finn. And we had Oscar Isaacs, and we were going to have the whole trilogy cast, the original trilogy cast, come back together. The hype was so unbelievable for it. I remember everyone was going crazy about it, and then the movie finally came out, and the reaction to it was actually mostly good. Mostly everyone liked it. I mean, there were some people that didn't like Force Awakens and would say that it was just a copycat of A New Hope, which I completely disagree with, but there were people that felt that way. So there were some dividedness in The Force Awakens when it first came out, but overall, everyone really liked it. J.J. Abrams set up a lot of mystery with it, and he set up a lot of stuff and a lot of cool characters to carry on to the trilogy. And I just really think he did a good job with it for the start of the new trilogy. Now, there are some good things and some bad things about this movie. It's not a perfect movie. It's not a perfect Star Wars movie. And I'm just going to start out with the bad things and get those out of the way first, stuff that I didn't really like about it. First off, right off the bat, I gotta say, I did not like the idea of having another Death Star. I thought that was really kind of lame and really kind of lazy on the writing standpoint. It just felt like, why do we need another Death Star? And even in the movie, Han Solo says, really, another Death Star. And he even is saying in a movie, like, come on, really? Another Death Star? And I felt like they could have done something more imaginative. I felt like, because I heard that, like, in old concept material, that it was originally going to be, like, a space station underwater. That would have been cool. I wish they would have kept with that instead of just keeping it another Death Star and making it a little bigger. Like, it really doesn't make sense. They destroyed it the same exact way as they destroyed the first one. There was really no that much stakes. Yes, we lost Hanzi and Prime, but at the same time, we knew no one of Hanzi and Prime. We didn't even hear of Hanzi and Prime until they destroyed it. So really, there's no emotional connection to Hanzi and Prime. At least with A New Hope, we were following a character that was connected with Alderaan. Leia, she was connected to it. That was her home. That was her planet. Her parents were there. So there was some connective feeling with that in A New Hope. But in The Force Awakens, there really is no connective feeling like that. They just destroyed Hanzi and Prime, which is supposed to be the capital of the Republic. They destroyed that, and then that's it. There's no big emotional impact to it at all. Which does, honestly, hurt the whole Death Star effect, because the whole Death Star of it being a repeat of Death Star could have been a good thing in and of itself, but it just turned out to be the same exact thing with no emotional connection to it at all or anything like that, so it just fell flat on that. Another thing too that I didn't like how they just underused Phasma, because in the trailers and the previews they were really showing her as a badass warrior type, and they just did her dirty, kind of like how they did. I felt the same way how they did with Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace. There's an awesome character, awesome concept. They show some cool stuff of it with the little they show of them, but that's all, and they never go on to show more of it. Yeah, Phasma is still alive at the end, but the way how she gets beaten by Finn is just kind of laughable. I mean, she's supposed to be this big commander in the First Order army, and she just gets easily thrown into a trash compactor and then gives away the details of how to set off the Death Star. She just gives away those details with no problem at all. she's easily that manipulated. Like, that just really pissed me off how they kind of dumbed her down, but yet showed her so much in the trailers and in the previews. It really bothered me a lot, and it reminded me how I felt about Count Dooku and Darth Maul in the prequels. One last thing I didn't really like at all on this was that whole Raftar scene. Very just, why is that in there? Like, it just feels really stupid, really out of place. The CGI effects on it is so god horrible. And comparing to that with all the rest of the CGI and practical effects in the rest of the movie, you're looking at that one scene, you're like, what happened? Why is this one scene so out of place? It feels really out of place. It's just not really part of the whole story, and the CGI just takes me out of that whole scene. I did not like the Raptor scene at all. Okay, now done with everything that I didn't like about the movie, let's get on to actually the good things and why this is one of my favorite Star Wars movies ever. You're introduced to some great characters along the way, as in Oscar Isaacs as Poe, John Boyega as Finn, and we got Daisy Ridley as Rey. Those are heroes that we follow on a journey, our new heroes. And right off the bat, I gotta say, I love the character development and actually character building and friendship building within these characters. Within the first 10 minutes, we already get a relationship established between Finn and Poe. Finn is a First Order trooper who basically sees the bad side of the First Order. In the very beginning, he watches the First Order basically kill a whole bunch of villagers for no reason at all. And he ends up thinking in his head, like, oh, crap, I need to get out of here. I need to really get out of here. And I like that a lot, because for the first time ever, we're getting a different perspective. We're getting a perspective from a stormtrooper. We're seeing just a regular old stormtrooper looking at the order that he was raised to serve, and is looking like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for. No, this is not what I want to do. And Poe in the beginning ends up getting captured by the First Order, so Finn ends up helping Poe escape, and there's a really great scene with them escaping. I love that whole scene with them escaping. We get a good character build-up within just that first couple minutes, what I was just saying. I just really love that one line that they have together where they go, "Gonna meet you, Poe. Gonna meet you too, Finn." Right there. That's all we need, and now we got a whole relationship established with Poe and Finn. And that's, honestly, they did better than any of the prequels did to establish Obi-Wan's and Anakin's relationship. The prequels took 3 movies to establish a somewhat relationship between them, and The Force Awakens took about 10 minutes and established a whole relationship between Poe and Finn, and I love that. I actually really love the new villain we got in here, Kylo Ren, which is also Ben Solo, Han Solo, and Leia's son. I really like Kylo, and some people didn't like Kylo. Some people have issues with him, but me personally, he is what I wanted to see Anakin Skywalker as in the prequels. You can tell that he's fairly just into the dark side. He wears a mask and a costume that kind of resembles Darth Vader. He's basically a Darth Vader fanatic, which is his grandfather. He has a burnt-up skull of Darth Vader, and he kind of talks to that skull, and he kind of prays to it almost, which I really found fascinating, and I really wonder if they're going to go back onto that into The Rise of Skywalkers. I really like that little storyline to it. I love how Kylo's a little unhinged. He's basically crazy. He's drunk with power almost. He's been in the First Order and Dark Side because he used to be a Padawan of Luke's. He used to be one of Padawan of Luke's, and then he ended up betraying Luke and killed all of his Jedi Order, Luke's Jedi Order he created, and went and joined Snow. He gets some scenes of him where he just goes kind of insane and starts destroying all of his stuff when he's pissed off. He ends up choking his own Imperial officers, kind of like what Darth Vader did. But we see that he's more like a teenager, like a bratty teenager who's just an emotional wreck right now. I like that because with doing that in the very first movie, I know right off the bat, okay, we're going to get some character development with this dude. We're going to see him change and build and become one of his own people throughout this trilogy. And so far, we have been seeing that, and I really like that we got that. Because some people were complaining that they didn't like how he was all bratty and kind of like a spoiled teenager, but I did because I know we're going to get some character development, and in the long run, it's going to fit and work perfectly for the character. And let me just say, Adam Driver just completely nails that performance. He is a fantastic Star Wars villain and a fantastic actor. I became a huge fan of Adam Driver after this series. I didn't really know much of him before Star Wars, but now, after seeing him in Star Wars, I became a huge fan of him. I really like Snoke and the introduction of Snoke and the mystery behind him. And there's a whole bunch of rumors and speculation of who Snoke can be. He's Darth Plagueis, or he's this or that. He's that little kid that Anakin killed in Episode 3. There's a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of rumors about him. And personally, I don't care about those rumors. I just like what we've seen of him being played by the great Andy Serkis. I really like Snoke's voice. He sounds like he's ancient. He sounds like he's been through a lot of shit. He's scarred up. And we only see a hologram of him so far, but just from that hologram, you can tell that he's been through a lot. He has a lot of knowledge under his belt. And he's seen some shit. He's seen shit and he's been around for a while. So I really like that little hint towards who Snoke can be. He obviously is the one that manipulated Kylo Ren. He's obviously the one who made Kylo Ren turn to the dark side and is training Kylo Ren. So I would really, really like to know more about him, and hopefully we learn more about him in The Rise of Skywalker. The comedy in this one is honestly really on point. I gotta say, it's probably one of the best comedies in any Star Wars film, in my opinion. Because comedy in Star Wars can either make or break it, in my opinion. Because, for example, I know I'm keeping going back to the prequels, and I'm sorry for the people who like the prequels. I enjoy some of the prequels, but there are some stuff in the prequels that I don't like, and this is one of the things that I don't like in the prequels is the comedy. I felt like the comedy was just so horrible in the prequels. Now we get to Force Awakens, and I think the comedy is full-on Star Wars comedy. I love that scene when Rey's asking Finn, like, the location of my base and stuff. And Finn he's obviously a First Order trooper, but he's posing as a Resistance trooper, and he doesn't really know where the base is, and he tells BB-8, which is the new droid, who I love. BB-8's awesome. BB-8's really cool. He tells the new droid, BB-8, come on, BB-8, tell her where her base is, and BB-8 just looks at him and goes, huh. Tells Rey BB-8 tells Rey where they're at, and then Finn looks at BB-8 and goes, thank you, John, for helping, BB-8, and gives him a thumbs up. You can just tell that BB-8 looked at Finn and gave him the finger, because he went up and got like flames out, went psh. So you can just tell that BB-8 gave Finn the finger, and that was just hilarious. Another hilarious scene too, I thought, was when Finn is talking about the Force, and we'll use the Force to Han Solo, and Han Solo looks at Finn and goes, that's not how the Force works! It just gets me. It gets me every time, and I love it. Speaking of Han Solo, how can I talk about this video without talking about Han Solo and Chewbacca coming back? Like, come on. The scene when they came back, and they came on the Falcon, and you see Han Solo and Chewie, and Han looks at Chewie and goes, Chewie, we're home. Right there, you know, like, I remember that made a warm feeling in my heart. And then we end up seeing in this one the conclusion of Han Solo's character, which I actually really loved. Even though I know right when Han ends up calling Kylo Ren's name Ben, when he ends up coming face to face with him, his son, you know right off the bat that Han's about to die. You kind of fully get that he's about to die, but that doesn't really derail the scene, because the performance with Harrison Ford and Adam Driver, you really feel this connection, and I really love the line that Kylo Ren gives Han Solo. He says, I know what I have to do, but I don't think I have what it takes to do it. And that line, there could have multiple meanings to it. He could mean that like, he knows that he should kill Snoke and go back to good, but he doesn't know what it takes to do it. Or he means that he wants to kill Han Solo and give himself to the dark side, but he doesn't know what he has to do it. So right there, it proves again that this guy, he's on both sides. He doesn't know what he wants. He's confused. He's hurt for some reason. Something happened to where he's hurt by his parents. From what we got from it, Han and Leia never paid attention to him as a kid. That he basically just was raised by Luke, and his parents never cared about him. Maybe that's part of the reason why he's like this. And he ends up killing Han Solo, and I remember that scene hit me, and especially when you hear Chewie's growl and Chewie's cry when Han Solo goes. Oh my god, every time I watch that movie, it gets me right then and there. It's just a big punch to the gut. It's like, damn, Han Solo, and you just see Han Solo fall, and that scene just gets me every time, and is one of the most emotional scenes in any Star Wars film, in my opinion. I actually really love this character of Rey, and I think Daisy Ridley performs the hell out of this role. I like how we don't know much about Rey, and I also like how she's not necessarily, well, as of right now, not related to anybody. She's just her own person. She's just a new person. She's not part of the Skywalker lineage. She's not part of the Solo lineage. She's just her own person who is strong with the Force, and I like that a lot. I like how we get actually some character building with her in the beginning. We see her life. We see that she's just a scavenger, you know, trying to make money just to have portions of food. We see that she eats a little bit of food. I love that scene of seeing her, how she's cooking her food and how she eats it. We get right off the bat, like, yeah, this is all she knows, is to be a scavenger, and that's her life. She probably never knew her parents, never knew a life outside of this, outside of Jakku, and that's all she knows, and you get that right off the bat. And with that, she's probably already know that she has some skills. She has some fighting skills. She knows how to protect herself, how to take care of herself. So I like how we get that establishment right off the bat that, yeah, she can defend herself. She knows how to fight. And I like that. I love how throughout the movie, we start seeing her starting to connect with the Force and starting to use it, which I really like, because you don't need necessarily training to be a Jedi in order to know the Force. If you're born with the Force, then you have the Force. You don't need necessary training. All the training does is help you control it, help you harness it, and help you get more stronger in it. That's what the training does. But if you have the Force, you have the Force, and you can use it. Just like how when she was using the Force to use the mind thing on the Stormtrooper. She knew, probably from past history, reading books, reading stories, that, oh, Jedi probably use mind tricks, let me try using it. And she did, and it worked. Yeah, of course, she doesn't know all the Force power. She can't fully use the Force, but she knows somewhat of the Force to tap into her Force abilities. The ending battle with her and Kylo, I honestly really loved. You can tell it's not overly choreographed. It's more grounded, more grittier. And I like that because right after, when Kylo kills Han, Chewie shoots Kylo in the gut with his crossbow. Now, to any regular human being, that would kill them. But, you know, since Kylo's a Dark Lord of Sith, or not really necessarily Dark Lord of Sith, but powerful with the Force, he can handle that shot, but damn, that hurts. And I like how through after that, you see him like hitting his gut, because what he's doing is feeling the pain, feeling the anger, so he is more powerful in the dark side of Force, essentially. Rey obviously is not a trained Jedi, but she knows skills with this with fighting, because we hear with her spear earlier on, fighting with her spear, so we know that she's talented in somewhat combat. You can tell that with both of them. Kylo's hurt. Kylo's kind of more grounded, grittier fighting because he's hurt. And Rey's is not really trained, so she's more grittier fighting. And we see that, and it's just a great, intense action fight. Because it's just not over choreographed. You can tell these, okay, like in the prequels. Because in the prequels, you can go like, okay, I could tell this has been very choreographed. It reminds me a lot of the New Hope fight with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. It's more grounded, more not really all jumping around everywhere doing tricks. Is more just a full-on sword fight, and that's what I like, and that's what I love that we've seen that, because I really missed that in Star Wars, and I'm really happy we got it back in this one. So as a whole, I have to say Force Awakens is probably my fourth, maybe tied with my third best with Return of the Jedi of Star Wars movies. Force Awakens is a fantastic installment in the Star Wars universe. It is a great pickup after where we left off for Return of the Jedi. It sets up a lot of new, great, interesting characters. It sets up a really good mystery within it, which I love. It also sets up a good story within this universe and a good characters to follow, like I said. It puts a lot better comedy into Star Wars. It flows really good. It flows actually perfectly. It's a very well-paced movie. So as a whole, I gotta say, the Star Wars, The Force Awakens, is a 8.5 out of 10 movie. Yes, 8.5 out of 10. I really love Force Awakens. I think it's, like I said, one of the best Star Wars movies in my opinion. It's right up there with the original trilogy, possibly tied with The Return of the Jedi. I don't know. I always go back and forth with it. So, what do you guys think of Force Awakens? What do you think of the sequel trilogy? Let me know down in the comment section below. I would like to know what everyone else thinks of it. Do you like it? Do you dislike the sequel trilogy? I gotta say, starting out with Force Awakens, I really love Force Awakens. And now, pretty soon, I'm going to be giving my review of The Last Jedi. And you guys are going to see what my thoughts on The Last Jedi are after a year later and watching it more times. I'll give you a hint. It's changed. It's changed a lot, but you guys will get to know how it changes if you watch my next review coming up soon. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you have a great day as always, and I'll see you guys next time.